Built for builders, from beginners to pros, this is where great backyards begin. Welcome to the Ultimate Deck Podcast, your source for backyard building tips, product breakdowns, and pro advice from the front lines of the industry. Here are your hosts, Shane Chapman and Wade Laurent.
Welcome back to the Ultimate Deck Podcast. Wade and Shane, how are you, everybody, today? Wade, what are we talking about?
You said everybody. I just only see myself and you in here.
Yeah, it's just... But they didn't know that before you outed me.
So you want to... I haven't told Dana this. I'm going to tell you.
Our accounting manager.
And then I'm going to tell her.
Fire away.
She believes there's a ghost in this building.
Oh, no, that's true.
She 100% believes it. Mm-hmm. And I'm always like, I don't know. So I'm going to tell you a story. And
is this a recent story? You've been staying here late a little bit lately?
a super recent story. This happened like a week ago.
Here we go. Okay.
So I did a transfer and I came back from Saskatoon and it was late. It was 1 or 2 in the morning. And so I showed up here, came inside, unlocked the gate, got the key for the forklift, moved the forklift, drove in, did it all. Everything was done. And I was leaving. So I had gone to the back and I hung the forklift keys up and I turned all the lights out. And I was leaving the store, and in the reflection of the glass by the contractor door, there was a person standing at the main sales desk.
Shut up.
Over my shoulder. Looked almost exactly like Dale, one of our sales guys. And I looked in the glass and I saw them. And I was like, oh, it happens right now. So all the hair on my body stood up. And I turned around and there was no one there. And so do you remember the movie Sixth Sense? And they say that when you walk past a spirit, you get really cold. Mm-hmm. And it's because that spirit's there. So I turned and I walked back to the counter because I was like, this is wild that happened. So I walked back and...
Lights on or off?
Everything's off. All the lights are off.
Was right from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
This happened in the dark.
Happened in the dark. But the computer lights are, the monitors are on. So there's light in the store still, kind of, right? And then we have the in-light displays in the back.
How tired were you?
Were
you delirious?
Nope.
You were wide awake.
I was awake. Yeah, I was not delirious.
Okay.
And when I walked back to the main counter, I got a chill you would not believe. Goosebumps all over my body. All my hair stood up. And I was like, oh yeah, there's for sure a ghost here. For sure. And so then I didn't turn the lights on, but that was what I was doing. I was going back to turn the lights on and I walked through there and I was like, ooh, I'm so cold. And I was like, this is wild. I can't wait to tell Dana. And so then I turned and I left and I walked out the store, closed the door, locked it. But as I was walking out, I was like, have a good night. Cause he was there. I know he was there. And I was just and so then I left and I haven't told Dana that, but anyways.
Is that your first ever experience?
Here. That's my first one here. She's like, there's people, there's ghosts. And I've always done kinds of, I'm always trying to play jokes on Dana cause she's so convinced there's a ghost in the building. And so anyways, that's the first one I've had.
And you're convinced. You're like that.
Yeah,
that was,
and it's not
that was not my imagination. I saw someone standing there.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And it's not like I'm not a believer. I believe in ghosts and spirits and so it wasn't that I had never seen one because I don't believe that. It was just it just hadn't shown up. Anyways.
Did you
looks like Dale.
Did you help him standing at the front desk?
No.
He was on for you today.
Nope. He was on the sales side.
Oh, he was working.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It's his building.
Yeah, I guess so.
He'd been here a while.
Maybe he was the guy that ordered the glass and didn't deduct.
Maybe. Anyways.
Okay. Well, that's creepy shit.
Next episode, you tell me your story. Do you have one?
Yes. No, I don't. Not one of my own. I've I've had people I know that have told me stories and I'm like, holy smoke, that's pretty crazy.
That was crazy.
But I don't think I've ever experienced one myself.
Yeah. It was so weird because it was there was 2 of us in the reflection. That's it was just so real. When I looked in the glass and was like, wow, that person is for sure there.
That is wild.
Yep.
Okay, well, I don't even remember what the hell our topic was going to be today. Maybe we should send this episode. That's fun. Last week we touched a little bit on how to prep your deck for fall and winter, and we touched on this a little bit about whether the fall was a good time to stain your deck or whether you should wait for the spring.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of gave a quick little Coles Notes versions of our thoughts on that, but we figured we'd dig into it a little bit deeper this week because it is an important topic at this time of year. So people often wonder this, if it's worth putting the effort into staining the deck now because it's going to just snow and not be used and not going to get rained on a bunch for the next 6 months. It's probably just better to wait until the spring. And they especially think this if they're installing a deck around this time, like a new deck, and they're thinking like, well, I might as well just wait till the spring because we're just doing this now and it's not going to get used, and you're supposed to let it dry out anyway for a year. That's the rule. Doesn't matter what it is. That's the hard, fast rule. 1 year. Doesn't matter where you are, what it is, how you did it. Doesn't matter. 1 year. I'm making fun of it. I'm making fun of that.
I know.
That's not what I believe.
But yeah.
So
it's shocking that people do believe that. It's shocking that people think one size fits all in that.
Yeah, well, they don't know. And here's the reason why that is the thing. They don't know. They don't know about moisture content of wood or wood density or types of staining products or whatever. So they just go on what they've heard. And what they've heard is that's the most common myth out there, or fallacy out there, is that you're supposed to wait a year to do anything. And it's perpetrated by the fact that there's so many people that are supposed to be in the know that spread that. There's so many like contractors or my buddy who used to work at a lumberyard or whatever that says, and
gray-haired guys.
Right. And so they don't consider anything. It's just their easy rule. So apply. So, I mean, I understand why people believe it, but
because it's easy and they want to.
Yep.
That's why.
Certainly.
Here we go.
So what are the benefits of staining in the fall? So if we get to the actual process of it, why you'd want to physically do it yourself in the fall, one of the nice things is that the temperatures are a little bit cooler, so you're not out there slaving away when it's 30/90 above in the hot summer heat. And depending on the type of product you're using, the weather can affect the quality of the finish or how easy it is to apply the finish, because some of these like film forming stains or curing stains cure faster in hot heat and direct sunlight, which you might think sounds like a good thing, but then you got to get that stuff on there fast. And if you don't, you can start to get lap marks. You can start to get premature drying, which can tack up on you, or you start to get like your brush dragging through as it's drying. It's like just like it affects the quality of finish. And then you have a lot of pressure to like get it done fast, like no breaks, get going. So that's not ideal. But if you wait till the fall and it's 15 to 20 degrees above and cloudy day, that's perfect for that type of stain.
Yeah, I would just say that it's a workable stain in the fall, right? Yeah. In the summertime, and it just dries so fast, and then it can dry and then actually be tacky and turn out you maybe have to kind of remove it a little bit, which is the opposite of what you're trying to do.
And a lot of stains you have to remove the excess stain you've applied if it hasn't soaked into the wood within 30 to 45 minutes or so.
Right. So that's the part I was talking about.
Is that what you're kind of referencing?
Yeah, it like sits on top because it doesn't penetrate in, doesn't soak in far enough.
Right.
And if you don't wipe that off and it's warm out,
right,
it becomes extremely tacky.
Yeah. So you might get it all on. No problem.
Yeah.
But then you're supposed to give the stain a little bit of time to like penetrate in and then wipe it off. But on a hot summer day in direct sunlight,
just dries.
There is no window. It dries too fast. You don't get a chance to wipe it off before, or you have to wipe it off so fast that it hasn't had a chance to penetrate. So really hot sunny days aren't good for those types of stains, those film forming type of stains. Now, if you're using, as we mentioned before, a non-curing oil like a Q-Tech Extreme or a Ready Seal or a Stain and Seal Experts, that kind of like really high end, that's not fair to say, they're not always more expensive, but just a high quality stain that doesn't cure, then those actually are very workable in the hot sun. The hot sun aids them in penetrating faster and kind of traveling throughout the fibers of the wood a little bit faster. So it depends a little bit on what you're using. Those ones you can still use in the fall as well. It's not a problem, but
yeah, you just might have to wipe them off.
Yeah. Now, if you're you've installed a brand new deck and you're not sure if you should stain it before or if it's worth letting dry out over the winter, the answer is no. To reference back to the myth, the reason that is out there is that when you buy brand new lumber to build a deck out of, it's somewhat commonly has a high moisture content to it. So that cedar tree, was a tree not too long ago, and it's been cut down and has been dried and sometimes kiln dried and whatever else. But sometimes the moisture content can still be higher on it, especially if it hasn't been kiln dried. And so, but the bigger issue is the pressure treated stuff, which the tree has been cut down, dried, but then re-infused with water as part of the chemical treatment process.
Yep.
It is put into a vat, a big tube of,
It's like a pressure cooker.
well, yeah, water, chemical and water, 99% water. And it's just like vacuum pressurized and forces moisture into the board. So when those come out of that vat, they are dripping wet, literally dripping wet.
Yeah.
And so they sit and they dry for a little bit and then they get tarped and bagged and they get shipped on the highway. So there's some drying that happens between that and when it shows up at the lumberyard. But sometimes they still show up at the lumberyard at 50% moisture content.
Well, because they're wrapped in a bag.
Yep.
They can't dry out.
The products you're putting on these things don't perform well if there's a lot of water and moisture in the board still. Because sometimes it's because it's an oil and water thing. It's like you've got water in the board and you're trying to apply an oil stain on top, and the oil is just going to be kind of repelled by the water almost and sit on top. And other times if you're like painting it or certain film forming types of stain, it's like the stain goes on, it dries on the surface, and as that water tries to escape, it's going to, the coating's going to fail as the water's trying to travel out of the board.
Yep.
So you have to wait until those types of stains are really dry before you can apply it. So if you're in the
Coast.
Palisades, or you're deep in Florida in the swamp and it's super humid all the time, and you get some boards and they're 50% moisture and you install them right now and your humidity is off the charts all day long. Yeah, it's possible you do have to wait quite a while before those will dry out enough to put some types of stain on them.
Yep.
But it's more common that if you're not in that area and you're using the appropriate amount of like a good quality stain, that you can apply it almost instantly in most cases. That's one of the reasons why we love Q-Tech Extreme so much, or those non-curing oils, because they can be applied right away.
Yeah.
They'll tell you they want like 17% moisture content or lower for kind of ideal performance. But the drawback if you put it on them and it's a 25% is not, it doesn't hurt anything. It just takes longer to soak into the wood because it's kind of got to displace the water.
Right.
It doesn't cure and trap the water in. It's just got to mobilize and move in, and the water's got to dry out. So it just takes longer to dry.
Yep. Yeah. If you're thinking about it like on an element scale or an atomic, right? If you're thinking about the atoms that are in there, it's like, well, there's water in there, and that oil has to push the water out.
Yeah.
So
all that to say, like, it depends what type of stain you're using, what type of wood you're using, how wet it is, and where you are as to whether you should do it in the fall or not. But we're often speaking from the Q-Tech Extreme world or the Ready Seal world, because those stains are so forgiving. They work so well. They don't have the drawbacks of these film forming stains. And there's no reason to not apply those in the fall.
And we're also talking about like our own climate. And
Even
if it is brand new material that went down this summer, even if it was fresh pressure treated that you purchased this summer, or fresh cedar that you bought this summer and installed on your deck, you can do it now. It's ready. There's
lots of guys in Ontario and other places that pre-treat their lumber with Q-Tech before it sees the sun.
Right.
Like they pre-treat before they frame the framing, before they frame the deck.
Yeah.
So it's about as green as you're going to get.
Still works.
And it works fine. They'll often not put the dyes in them, like the color tone tints in at that point. They'll do a clear coat because the color tone tints, they are a larger molecule and they act a little bit differently than the oil itself. But they'll pre-treat with oil, and then if the customer is wanting to stain it a different color, then they'll do another coat later with the color tone tint added. But just goes to show you, it doesn't, like with that stuff, it doesn't matter if the wood's a bit wet. It's fine.
Yeah. Yep.
So why would you want to do it now? And it's like, well, if you're using a proper quality deck stain or wood protectant, doing it now is going to protect that wood through the winter a lot better than not doing it right now. And we talked about this last episode a little bit, that the continuous expansion and contraction of the wood fibers in those boards that happens every time humidity changes, wrecks them. It's pretty common knowledge that like when people do treated lumber, it's like, oh, my board's got a crack in them. It's like, yeah, that's what treated lumber does, because it comes to you expanded, soaked in water, and as that dries out, it shrinks. But then it rains or gets humid out and it expands again. And then it dries and gets hot out and it shrinks again. And when we go through harsh winters like ours, they're incredibly dry. The moisture content in the air is next to nothing. So the boards shrink right up in the winter. And then in spring, it melts and they absorb all this moisture because there's snow and ice sitting on top of the deck. They absorb all this moisture, and then at night it freezes again, and then it shrinks, and then it shrinks. And like that freeze-thaw cycle just like wreaks havoc on these boards. Yeah. By doing something like any sort of like well-performing oil-based stain, it's going to repel the water and stabilize the wood from doing all that expanding and contracting cycles. So it's going to reduce that cupping and that cracking and that checking. And
so that freeze-thaw cycle is also causing the, like when you talk about using a film forming stain, that freeze-thaw cycle is also what causes that stain to break and flake and chip off your deck, right?
Yeah.
Because you get a little bit of moisture under there and it freezes, and then it's like it breaks the bond between the film forming stain and the wood.
Yeah.
Or the wood itself is moving, and it's just like that movement causes the bond to break. Right. So it's either one of them. You could have moisture between the layers, which would then freeze and break it open, or it would be just movement itself, which would do it. Right. So, yeah, the reason your stain is peeling is the freeze thaw cycle.
Yeah.
So anyways,
an analogy, if you paint your face for Halloween and the paint gets all dried and then you smile.
Yep.
And it cracks, the paint all cracks. That's what your deck stain does when the wood expanding cracks.
Yeah.
And as soon as that happens, now the water can get in there and it just accelerates the issue.
Yep.
Gets in, cracks it more, starts to peel, starts to flake. Now you got a problem. That's why we love the stains that don't peel and flake.
Yeah.
Now, the other part of it that people don't think about sometimes is the UV in the winter even. Everybody knows to apply sunscreen in the summer because you're outside all the time. But bright summer or bright winter days with lots of sunshine, and where we are, we get a crap load of sunshine in the winter. Like, it may be cold out, but it's sunny as all hell.
I have absolutely burnt my face in the winter.
And you have snow on the ground that is super reflective. Like, there's just a lot of UV bouncing out there. If your deck is clear, it can still age and gray in the sun over the winter as well.
Yeah.
So by staining it in the fall, you're adding that, assuming that you're using a stain that has a UV inhibitor in it, you are protecting it from UV during that entire period as well. Then also in the spring, when everything melts off, it's not that UV isn't beating it up until you get to staining it in May or something. You're protecting it then as well, because you don't want to stain when it's freshly thawed and you still got some snow on it. It's wet everywhere. Like, you want to wait until the deck's dried off, and
that's right.
And then you're going to want to clean it before you start. So
yeah, you want to get the dust and debris and stuff off of there, right? So.
Yeah. We talked a little about the moisture content. I don't think we need to go back into that, but
so when would you wait till the spring to do it?
I think the only time off the top of my head, if I was painting the deck and it was a treated deck built in the fall that did have high moisture content, and you were painting it that requires a super low moisture content, then you don't really have much choice. But outside of that, I don't know that I ever would.
Yeah. So some of the risks are, you for sure don't want to do it if you're going to run in. You don't want to stain your deck in the fall or your fence if you're going to run into freeze, like if it's going to freeze overnight. You for sure don't want then, right?
Sure.
So you've maybe waited too long if you're getting to minus temperatures in the evening.
Yep.
But shy of that, I don't know. I think shy of freezing at night, you can probably still do it at this time of year. Be my guess.
Yep. I think so.
Okay. So it's always a good time to stain your deck then.
Yeah, just not in the dead of winter, but any other time, great time. Anyway, I guess I'd be remiss to not mention that if you're looking for a stain for this kind of thing, we are huge fans of Q-Tech Extreme. It doesn't flake. It doesn't peel. It doesn't, like, it's super easy to apply. It's very forgiving. It doesn't leave lap marks. It doesn't dry in the sun. It doesn't whatever. Super easy maintenance coats. You don't have to sand or strip or anything when you go to do maintenance coat. You just put more on. You get a lot of those benefits out of Ready Seal or Stain and Seal Experts or other non-curing oils as well. But Q-Tech Extreme is consistently rated the top performing oil in a lot of different tests that happen out there, and picked as product of the year and all these things. And it's like, it's the one. And I also think it's a nice blend of price point, because people look at it and be like, oh, that's very expensive. It's $130 a gallon. It's like, so it's more than the $70 gallon stuff I can get at Home Depot. And it's like, yes, it is, but the coverage on it's also double. So the cost per square foot's the same, and it performs infinitely better. That $70 is a great deal until 6 months from now when it's not, and you're redoing it or scraping it off and starting over. But if you cover 400 square feet with $130, or you cover 200 square feet with $70, what's the difference?
None.
Unless you only have a tiny little landing, you're not going to use the whole gallon. It's way overkill. Fine. That's when I think Ready Seal is a great option, because you get you get similar application benefits. Maybe the performance doesn't last quite as long as Q-Tech, but it's lower cost per gallon, covers less per gallon too. But if you've only got 150 square feet to do or something, 100 square feet, then sure, use Ready Seal.
Right.
Similar benefits. Yep. So, tuds.ca. TUDS.ca. You can order that stuff from if you like. That's it. Anything else?
No, I think that's all.
Okay.
Good fall cover.
Right?
Yep.
There we go. See you guys next week.